What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich. It's Wednesday, February the 14th, and here are my NBA best bets presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook, your trusted sportsbook for the past 25 years. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody out there. Hopefully, I can cook up some winners early and you can spend some time with your loved ones later on tonight. But a little PSA before we get started. It is heading into the All-Star break, so we could see some teams resting players tonight. So make sure you do check those inactives before you place your bets because things may be changing later on. Teams at times will give some of their star players additional rest going into the All-Star break. So the Lakers are one team that I think we should be looking out for, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's get into the best bets right now. So as you can see, loaded slate in the NBA today. 12 games, well, actually 13 games because the Lakers game is not on this list yet. As I mentioned, could be seeing some players inactive in that game after the Lakers played last night. But getting into the best bets, because I'm not going to go through every game because there's just too many to talk about, we are going to be starting with the Washington Wizards and the New Orleans Pelicans. Because I have a feeling, a small one, that Washington is going to cover the 12.5 points in this matchup. I know it feels bold because Washington is not a good team, but they are surprisingly good as road underdogs. They're 17-9-1, so a 65% hit rate to cover the spread when they are on the road as underdogs. They've also covered 3 of their last 4 games, including 3 of their last 4 double-digit spreads. They played a tight game against Boston. They've been playing a lot of tight games recently, so I do believe this is the perfect spot to catch a good number for Washington at 12.5 in a spread that they can cover. On top of that, the Pelicans have been a team that have played very well on the road, but at home can be a little bit spotty. So while I fully expect them to win this game, I just don't know if they're going to cover that 12.5 points. And so that's why, for me, the best bet to kick this thing off is the Washington Wizards plus 12.5. This number seems to be trending a little bit their direction, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did go New Orleans' way. The next bet I'm looking at here is between the Indiana Pacers and the Toronto Raptors, and I'm looking at the under 245 points. I know what you're thinking. Indiana, man, they play in these high-scoring games. We talked about it last week when I took the under between Boston and Atlanta, and I mentioned Indiana was the only team that really taken Boston over that 240-point mark. Now, I did want to mention this. Pascal Siakam making his return to Toronto since being traded. So a very interesting narrative there if you want to go down narrative street a little bit. But the Raptors also just got embarrassed by the Spurs at home in their last game. So before you call me crazy, let's just talk about the numbers real quick. The Toronto Raptors are 9-17 hitting overs at home this season, a 65% hit rate, and are 3-8 hitting the over as home underdogs. And then you go to the Indiana side and we see a very similar trend. On the road, Indiana is 11-13-2, so 54% towards the under and 2-5-1 as favorites. So while I do agree this game can definitely go over, and their first matchup did go over, the splits indicate it'd be an over game if it was in Indiana and not so much in Toronto. They tend to play a slower pace. I think we could see some interesting things happen with Pascal coming back to Toronto. Maybe they play a slower pace. Maybe it's a high-scoring game. But the data and what we've seen in Toronto specifically, to me, lends itself towards an under. So give me the under here at 245. I can't believe it's all over 245, but this is Indiana. This is what happens. And you're getting it plus money, so it may continue to go up. But see where that total lands maybe later in the day and take that under, because I think it is one of the best bets on the board. And last but not least, the one that I have to get to because I take them every time, my Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets are up against the Memphis Grizzlies today. I will be taking the money line at minus 141. You could take it at 3 on the spread if you want. I'm kind of iffy on it. The Rockets on the road are not a very good team, but they have played very well against Memphis this season. They are 3-0 against Memphis on the year, but they are 1-2 covering the spread as road favorites. So again, they are good against Memphis, but they aren't so great on the road. And so that's why for me, I would prefer 2.5. And if it does get to 2.5, I'm fine taking the spread there. But at 3, I just don't really want to play those games because it could be a close one. So I will be taking the money line at minus 141. The Rockets are going to get this sweep today. They've won by double digits at home, both games already this season, and they won by 6 in Memphis in December. I think they get the sweep tonight, and I think the Rockets get the win. So for me, this is an easy bet. The Rockets are the better team, and I believe they're going to win in Memphis tonight. So that's it for my best bets. Quick recap of the plays. We're going to be taking the Washington Wizards to cover the 12.5 points against the New Orleans Pelicans. We're going to be taking the Toronto Raptors and Indiana Pacers under 245 points. And we're also going to be taking the Houston Rockets money line against the Memphis Grizzlies. And as I mentioned, bonus play, the LA Lakers. Nah, I'm just joking. I'm taking the Jazz at home. We've talked about the Jazz countless times. They are so much better at home. The Lakers coming off a back-to-back. So I really like the Jazz tonight to cover the 5.5 points. It's a bit more than I'd like to spend, and that's why it wasn't one of the core plays. It is a bonus play, so go a little bit lighter on it. But have fun tonight. Enjoy your loved ones, and make sure you're following Pinnacle across all of our socials. And as always, bet smart and bet Pinnacle. I'll see you guys next week on Thursday because of the break. But I will see you next week. I'm out. Peace.